there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have a fun something. I have some fun crafts coming your way. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some farmhouse Christmas home decor crafts. So let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I'm using this star sign I found at a garage sale or a thrift store or something like that. Any star shape will do. And I am just tracing it onto some copy paper so that I have a star pattern. And this is probably a good 12-14 inches across. It's a fairly large size pattern. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Now for my fabrics, I have this old blanket I found at a thrift store. I talked in my last video how I've been thrifting for old blankets and machine quilts and things I can cut up. And I'm going to use this fabric from Hobby Lobby. If you didn't have like an old blanket, you could use like duck cloth for your background, would work really nice choice. But I'm really liking the old quilts and things for a lot of my pieces for my craft show this year. I'm kind of changing it up a bit. So I'm going to cut my star out of the top pattern. And then once I've got that cut out, I actually cut 2. You don't have to. 1 is sufficient, but this is kind of a thinner fabric, so I cut 2 out of this shape. And then I'm going to use this, place it onto that thick type of blanket here. I just sort of cut it out a little bit, but I'm going to cut it in a little bit closer all the way around here. And I'm going to come out, gosh, it looks about a 1/4 inch. Sometimes I go out about a 1/2 inch or so and just kind of cut that blanket a little bit farther out so it just has a nice silhouette around the top layer of our star. Yeah, I'm just kind of having fun. I'm changing things up a little bit for this year's Christmas Bazaar craft show, and I'm kind of doing a lot more quilted items and things like that. So this video is featuring a couple of the things that I'll be putting in the show, but I thought you guys might enjoy making it. So just finishing up this, I just kind of wanted to show you the whole thing since we have only 2 projects in this video today. As we're coming down to the month right before the show, it gets fairly busy for me. So sometimes you might see only a 2 project video this month, or maybe 3, depending on, how much time I've got to craft with you and for you and show you some fun ideas for your Christmas crafts. Just rounding around the corners now. I want it to look nice. You don't have to round, of course. You could just do star shape or pointed shapes. Now, if you're a gluer, Beacon Fabri-Tac glue or a hot glue, anywhere on the star you want to start, just make sure you leave a nice opening there and just glue right along the edge between the 2 fabrics all the way around. And I think I just left like one whole side of an opening there. I'm going to take mine to the sewing machine, of course, and sew it all the way around. Now this idea would look really cute if you went maybe double the size and made it a pillow. Of course, I'm going to add some greenery and stuff to it because I just thought it would be really cute nestled in among Christmas decor, like maybe sitting in a cute little sled or something like that, or just, up against a cute Christmas sign, anything like that. And it's really quick, fun, and easy to make. And doing it this way, you don't have to do like the silhouette around it if you don't want to. You can do both patterns the same shape. It's just whatever you like to do. And I loved using this blanket because it really gives it a lot of texture over the duck cloth, but either one would work fine. Or I call it duck cloth a lot because you can't buy duck cloth, but the one I use that simulates duck cloth is from Walmart, and it's Waverly Brand. It's 100% cotton. It's like their cream shade. It's really thick like the duck cloth, and it has lots of little specks and freckles in it, almost like a muslin shape if you're looking for that. And you could use a muslin, but it is a little bit thinner, so a thicker fabric would work wonders, or double your fabric like I did on the plaid on top for the star. Right, just coming to the end of that. Once this is done, I left my opening kind of right in the center between 2 little things that come out on the star. And I'm going to go ahead and just put in a little bit at first, making sure I get the stuffing right down into the points of the star. And I'm actually using like a chopstick. I think I got it at Walmart, a package of chopsticks. I like them over a skewer because they have more of a blunt end. Because if you skewer and try to put it in there, you're going to go right through the end of your fabric because that pointy end. So just making sure I get fabric stuffed nice and tight right down into those points before I fill the rest of it up, and just fill it as nice as full as you want it to. be. Once you're done, you can glue it shut. If you're a gluer, of course, I will sew mine shut there. I'll just do that off camera. It almost looks like a starfish to me, the way it's kind of curling. So there you go. Now I'm using, but it is a star. Now I'm using 2 pieces of batting here. I've just cut it down and I'm going to just kind of cut it into a tag shape. I've kind of been doing this year too, making little batting tags, so to speak. And then I'm going to cut down some muslin, actually rip it down. I make a little slit first just to get it started to the size I want and rip it the rest of the way so it looks all tattered along the edges. Perfect. And then I'm going to use these clickable stamps. I'll have a link down below for you from Michael's. I think you can get them on Amazon too. I think they have off brands. And then I'm just going to stamp Oh Holy Night. And then I've got some of this snow greenery from Dollar Tree. It's actually really pretty, but make sure you look because I picked up some of them and got a whole big bunch of them. And I've got all this other greenery I'm going to add too. And some of them had, like a gray tint to it. I don't know if they're meant to be gray, but really look if you want them to be somewhere a really bright green or a kind of darker green here or a gray tint. And then I'm using some rusty stars and rusty bells and a little bit left of this kind of rusty star pitberry garland. It's the last. I found it at Joann's probably 3 years ago, and it's the last of my supply. But I'm just kind of coming in at the left edge here, and I'm just gluing down some different greeneries here just to give it a little something. I like to kind of mix, greeneries here to give it a little bit of texture. Adding in a little bit of that pitberry rusty bell star garland here. And then I've got some great big twine diameter I get from Walmart, tied it into a bow, and I'm going to add that as well. And then we're going to come in with our, I didn't know what we were coming in with. We're coming in with some beaded berries. I buy these at Hobby Lobby. I just got them like a week ago. They were on sale half off because they're normally $1.99. So I buy like 8 to 10 of them when they go half off. So I get these big bunches of beaded berries for $1 because they're just the perfect color red in my opinion. And then I've got a little button here. I'm using some crochet twine to go through the holes of the button and just put a knot on the back of it just to fill those buttonholes. And I'm going to bring in some of my Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink and a little dauber here, and I'm going to just kind of ink up our little tag around the edges as well so that stark white batting doesn't show. And then I've got a bell here. I just kind of put some twine on it through the little loop of the bell so that I could glue it to the center of that twine bow so it'll stay in place. And then I'll glue my tag like right underneath over that both of those twine there, and that'll help that rusty bell to stay right there. And then I'm going to add a little red and cream twine bow in my button right there in the center of that. And then you all know how I like to kind of, however the tails on my bows fall and they wrinkle and crinkle, I like to just glue them into that position. And I've got a little rusty star here. I can't remember what site I get it from, but I will have that link down below for you. I'm going to kind of pop that in there, a little bit more rust. And then I will adjust my red and cream twine here, adjust the tails a little bit shorter and glue those into place. You can find this, it usually comes out, I don't know why not at Christmas, but it usually comes out in the summertime at Dollar Tree and with all the nautical stuff. It's like a brown and cream twine, big ball of it, or this red and cream, and I buy like, 7 or 8 of them because I use a ton of it through Christmas time. Once I get this into position, the last thing I'm going to do off camera, because you all know I'm going to do it, is use my shimmer spray. I love to use it. It's just a nice clear shimmer with a hint of silver glitter. There are other colors, but I'll have the link down below to the Etsy shop for you. And that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 2. For this project, I've got this little mitten here. I downloaded it. It was a free printable pattern from Pinterest. I'll have a link down below. I saved it to my Pinterest board, and I just adjusted it. I cropped and adjusted it to the size I wanted, which was 10 inches tall and about 8 inches wide, because I wanted a rather large big mitten here. I'm going to use the same size later for a smaller mitten garland. But what I've got here, this is just a big quilt I bought, I think from Wayfair, $29, $30, something like that. But I've been cutting it up because it's already quilted, ready to go. I love the colors because it's Christmassy. These are little extra pieces I've had left over, and I'm just cutting them down so that I can kind of mix and match the patterns and then sew them together to make it look all patchy, right? Like a patchwork quilt. And yeah, it was a little bit, like I said, around $30 for this quilt, but I have probably done 20 plus projects with this quilt. It was like a throw size, but it's been doing a lot for me. So this is how I'm going to do it. Now, if you're a gluer, you can, of course, put your right sides together. I know which is my right size because the back of the quilt's all the stripe, and you can just glue all your pieces together. Or like this is the quilt that I've been cutting up. If you find one like this, it's already in pieces. So just cut it how it is. And you don't have to quilt anything together, but I wanted to use up every little piece I could. So, and I want to place it in different directions or things like that. But I will have the link down below to this particular quilt that I bought. Okay. Well, so what I've got is everything is pieced together, and I'm going to go ahead and come in here and sew all my 4 pieces together. And I'm loving doing this because when you cut this, of course, all that batting's kind of hanging off the end, and it just looks really cool. And I don't have a problem cutting this up because it was machine made anyway, but it's just like the perfect kind of country colors and just loving it. I almost wish I got 2, but I might get tired of it. But there is another one that's kind of on hold that I've been kind of waiting to get to. If I run out of this one, I'll go ahead and get another one that's some different colors. Anyway, here it is all put together, and now I'm going to lay my pattern on this where I want it to be, and then I'll go ahead and pin it and get it cut out. Okay? Perfect. It's just going to look all patchworky and cute. And again, I've slowed this video down just because we only have 2 projects. Normally I'm speeding it up really fast so you're not watching an hour-long video, but you get to watch it in like almost real time. It's quite amazing, isn't it? And I am sometimes cutting a little bit bigger than the actual pattern. Don't care, however you want to do it. Just, cut it out. And whatever size you want, you can crop and adjust your pattern to whatever size you want. So here it is all cut out, ready to go. Now, if you didn't want to quilt it at all and you just wanted to use regular fabric and maybe like this, I'll have the link down below to this fabric that I picked up at Jubilee Fabrics, and put some batting with it and then put the 2 together to make it look quilted so the batting hangs on the outside. You can do that option as well, and you can cut up 2 or 3 different fabrics and put them together if you don't have anything quilty, but put the batting behind it so it looks like it's quilty, like you cut a quilt apart. And now, yes, I'm using the same blanket. It's coming in handy, and I'm going to cut this out a little bit bigger all the way around, just like I did the star. Okay, I'll do that off camera because we already seen me cut the star. Here it is, all cut and ready to go. And then I'll go ahead and start laying this one on top of it so we have that silhouette around it. Again, you can use a duck cloth or a muslin or something like that. If you're a gluer, go ahead and glue all the way around, but leave your top portion opening. But wait before you glue because we need to think about putting some kind of handle on this. I'm going to go ahead and get ready and pin it, but before I do, I need to remember a handle first. So I have some muslin here. I ripped it's about a 1-inch size strip, and there's a couple of ways to do this. You can kind of sew or glue it across on the front, and hot glue or Fabri-Tac glue will work. I'm just going to sew it across this top edge, and if you do it that way, then you can make it a little kind of like a knot in the front. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just, glue in between the 2 layers of fabric that way. Okay, so there's 2 options. So I'm going to go ahead and pin mine into place and then just glue or sew across the top, making sure that my back piece isn't in with that top piece because I don't want to sew it to that back piece yet. Okay, so I'm going ahead and just doing that option, and I'm going, back and forth 2 or 3 times back stitching so it holds nicely. Because, yeah, we're going to fill this up. That's why it's a bigger mitten. We're going to fill it up with some greenery and things like that. So, just want to make sure it holds really well. And then once I do that, I'm going to make sure my back piece is flipped into place, and then I'm just going to continue sewing around the entire mitten here. I really like how this turns out. Unfortunately, because of the time frame, I'm probably only going to make one. A lot of the things that I am doing with you guys, even though I want to make more, I have so many ideas this year that, you know, a lot of these are going to be like one and done. So people that come up, I'm going to be like, you might want to buy it now because there's only one of it, you know. Hopefully they'll want to buy it, you know, because I'm kind of really changing my booth up this year. I'm bringing back some old favorites, but I'm doing a lot of kind of this country quilty stitchy look. All right, so here it is. It's got our opening here, everything's sewn together. We've got our handle on it, and I've got my areas sewn across the top with the straps. Again, you can put those in between your fabrics and do it that way. Now I'm cutting just a piece of this fabric here. I'll actually do two pieces. I'm going to cut this one out here, and then I'll have another strip that I rip later. And I'm doing it double layered so it's nice and thick, and I'm just freehand cutting kind of a nice country looking heart, you know, where like one side is bubble is bigger than the other side. One side's taller and bigger. And then I'm going to take, if you know what I'm saying, what are those things of the hearts called? Those rounded areas. I've got one area round a little bit bigger, one a little bit shorter, kind of a country heart. And in two pieces of batting here, I'm going to cut the same size as the heart. And then if you're a gluer, you can go ahead and glue it together. Or you can hand stitch if you glue, but you love to hand stitch. You can do some hand stitching on it. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of spot glue it so it holds it together. And then off camera, I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew around the perimeter of it. All right, here it is, what it looks like all done. It's not real noticeable because I didn't change thread because this thread's working with a lot of stuff, but it's hand stitched so it'll fit. But I love how that batting and stuff is just kind of sticking out. So if you did a whole glove that way, if you didn't want to piece it together like I did and you just wanted to use one fabric with the batting behind it, how I showed you at the beginning, it would look really cute. So now my pieces here that are hanging out on my handle, I'm just coming in and just doing a little half knot here so that the little bit of what's left after the knot just kind of hangs out off of the edge here. And I'll just cut off the excess and just kind of fray the edges with my finger. So this is what you could do if you wanted your handle sewn on the outside. And then I'm going to come in and stuff my mitten, making sure I stuff it in the thumb area as well. And then I'll just stuff it about 3/4 full. I want it pretty full. I want it to where when I stuff greenery in there, it can make contact with that cotton a little bit as well so it doesn't fall to the edge. And then I just have all different kinds of greenery here from my supply. A lot of this greenery I pick up at Hobby Lobby, of course, Walmart, some at Joann's. But what I do like this piece here, it's actually cheaper versus going into the section where they have all the greenery picks. If you go into the section where they have all the Christmas trees, the little mini ones that are like 8, 10, 12, 14 inches tall, those ones. And like the last time I went to Hobby Lobby, it was all half off. And I bought the trees. They were around $8 to $10. And that's probably $20, 20 picks worth of tree for like $8 to $10. And I just cut the tree apart and use it that way versus getting all the little picks for $3 and $4 each. Much more affordable that way is buying the smaller trees and cutting them up for your greenery. And I try to use lots of different types of greenery in this mitten just to give it a little bit of fun. And you can make it as full or as lightweight as you want. You don't have to put as much greenery in as I did. And also somewhere in there as you're watching this, you saw me take the little muslin handle that's usually to the front. I put it over toward the back because I kind of tested it when I was hanging it. Put it behind your greenery so when it hangs, because if you have it in front of your greenery, it's going to make your glove hang funny. So make sure that your muslin is behind your greenery as you are stuffing it. So now I'm just adding in some of my beaded berries from Hobby Lobby, and then I'm going to come in with our clickable stamps again, and I just spelled out Snowflake Wishes, and I'm going to make another little padded tag here. So I'm stamping onto some muslin that I've ripped to the size I want, and then I've got my little tag here, 2 pieces of batting. And then, of course, if you're a gluer, go ahead and glue it together. I will take it to my sewing machine and sew it all together. I'll do a little spot gluing here, though, to kind of just help hold it in place, just like I did the last one. These tags are just so cute with all this quilted stuff. I took some ink, I inked around the edges, and here's my piece of probably about 2 inches ripped piece of that same fabric we did the heart with. I just kind of tied it into a big bow, kind of putting it to the left side near the top, and you can see me, I'm already kind of wrinkling and crinkling my bow tails here. We'll glue those into position. I like how this green fabric, it just kind of fit in with it. But again, I just kind of love how both of these projects turned out. All right, and then we're going to bring in just a little bit of stuff for the center of the bow, not too much. I've got this big bell, and it came off of this pick with the wire in it, and I'm just going to tuck it in right at the top of the knot of that bow inside the little mitten, and then I can push that forward and glue it onto the bow here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and glue my tag into place, and then again with some of that red and cream twine into another bow right on top of that tag, and then I'm going to ink my little button up. I've already put the crochet string in the holes, and what I'm going to do, see, I can just bring my bell and just glue it right over position there, and then go ahead and glue my button on. Luckily, I caught it because I started to have a no flake wishes tag instead of snowflake, but I caught it and moved my button over so you could see the S and reposition my tag a little bit here. Perfect. And I'm going to ink up my heart a little bit and go ahead and glue that into position. And then since I inked up that heart, I'm going to go ahead and ink up a little bit more so it matches that heart and just ink up the material on that bow. We already inked up our tag, and I'll ink up the little handle there, little muslin handle as well, just so everything ties in together. We're just about done with this. Really was nice and quick and easy, and I think I've said 10 times, turned out super cute in so many words or less. I'm going to kind of adjust my bow a little bit more. You couldn't quite see that tail a little bit. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjust my tails on my twine bow here. And of course, yep, glue everything into position how I want it to sit. A little bit too much glue there. But I caught it. It's okay. And then, of course, the last thing I'm going to do if off camera is bring in my shimmer mist and shimmer that right up. And that makes this project complete. So I hope you enjoyed both of these projects today. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which one was your favorite. And let me know if you're kind of liking this quilted type of look for projects. And I'm really curious to know if it would be your thing if you walked into my craft booth and kind of saw all this stuff, or did you kind of more like my old style? I don't know. I'm just trying to change it up a bit, and I'm looking for some opinions if I'm heading the right way this year with my craft show. Anyway, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you walked in here for the first time and you're just checking things out and you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another project from me. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. You are running a race you've never imagined. The finish line is up ahead, just around the corner. Your heart and mind are getting excited to finish. You just have a few more feet with a few more rhythmic pounds of the pavement. What you don't see, though, is an unexpected hurdle just out of your line of sight. The race has already been difficult. It's not what you had planned. You're tired, stressed, angry, sad, a lot of emotions, really. And you aren't sure how much more you can take. As you finally see and reach the hurdle, you quickly assess the situation and realize there's nothing that can be done but to jump over it and hope you clear it. This is where trusting God gives you all the ability you need. This is where God says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is where God whispers, "With me, all things are possible." There are lots of seasons in your life, and it's possible this one seems the hardest, but nothing is impossible with God. It's time to lay your burdens at His feet and allow His mercy to give you rest. It may feel as though you've been laying the same burden at His feet for a while now, and maybe you feel alone, hurt, let down, but don't give up. His grace can set you free. God doesn't say all things are good, but He says all things work for the good of those who love Him and who have been called according to His purpose. Allow God to transform your pain for His purpose. Allow God into your current storyline so that you aren't writing this alone. Allow yourself to praise Him in the midst of the jump over this hurdle. Allow God to use the pages of your story for the good according to His purpose. You also need to remember that throughout the chapters of your life, God will always remain faithful to you, even when you doubt. When you feel like God isn't hearing you or listening to your voice, He says, "Be still and know that I am God." Powerful, peaceful, rest-filled words of hope from a God who knows you and loves you. Even if you wonder why God is allowing this race to happen with an unexpected hurdle thrown in, be assured that when you seek God through it all, with your whole heart, He will be found by you. He declares it to be so in the Bible, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verses 13 and 14. God also has a plan for you. Trust that God is who He says He is and that He will do what He says He will do. He is a God that will never cause you to stumble or harm you in any way. He will constantly work day and night to give you the best possible ending for your story as you jump that hurdle free and clear and finish the race with every ounce of His hope, giving you your greatest future. Just allow yourself to trust in Him and allow your faith to rest in His strength. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.